Following seagulls in free crime, guys. I found him. He's hit. Oh wait, he's gone. God, this is a beautiful map, actually. Like, I actually really
Other
like.
than that sun that everyone hates, I haven't heard any good things about it. It even makes your crosshair invisible if you aim at it. Like it's the same color as your crosshair, basically. It's
Of
really
course, it makes your
frustrating.
crosshair invisible, dude. No one's gonna let you attack the sun. What the hell? You take the sun out, we're screwed, man. You can't do that. I don't know. I think that my favorite map from an aesthetic point of view on the map itself, I love Numbani. I really, really love Numbani. But I think Watchpoint Gibraltar, looking out, has the best view.
I like Watchpoint. But right now, so Fnatic right now is running an extremely standard team composition. This is probably like one of the most basic team compositions with the McCree Pharah. They have Diva off tank. But K1ck is very non-standard. They're running Widow and Soldier and Reaper, which is a very interesting composition. It's kind of awkward, I guess, in a way, in terms of how you have the two ranged plus the close range Reaper. But we'll see if that can maybe open up room for the Widow to make plays.
I'm going to go ahead and there we go. On the fly, adjustments as we have the correct score on the overlay. I wonder if I managed to get in there before too many people in Twitch chat lampooned me for it. But right now we have a reasonably fast start from K1ck there, getting into the archway. Now this is a very, very confined space, so whoever happens to control the flanks here more or less gets free passage through the middle. And we can see Fnatic with Stefan and Morta just trying to win the aerial battle. They're not in the face, they're just trying to stop K1ck from getting into the archway, but they're not quite able to do that there.
Yeah, no team has really figured out how to stop teams from just pushing the cart straight up into that underpass, but
oh god,
it's here when the defense really gets going. Although it looks like both DPS are down for Fnatic, so K1ck is actually doing a really good job here. I think Fnatic's having trouble because they only have really the Diva that can get on the Widow, and it's kind of making things awkward for positioning for Fnatic.
I remember seeing some really sick Reinhardt plays at this section of the map. Was it Arontium, I want to say, in the AlphaCast Invitational that more or less 1v4'd about 5 or 6 different occasions? Really, really nice space, nice confined space for Reinhardt ults and charges and stuff like that. We have a Lucio ult now from Fnatic, trying their best to keep a hold of this position, and they've actually managed to stop the attack in its tracks here. Really, really nice.
Yeah, but they managed to kill off that Mercy. They're still going to get some cart time here, but she still has res up. And again, K1ck is not running a Mercy lineup, so...
Oh, and Valitar missing everything with the High Noon there, but as it turns out, we don't need Deadeye. I think he basically had one target left to kill. Okay, he didn't get that, but his teammates did, and we have a bit of a reset here.
Well, often if you use the Deadeye to kill the key target, it's worth it. Like, maybe it's the Widow, or maybe it's the Pharah flying in the sky.
Sure, so. But maybe not when that key target is, like, the last guy alive.
Alright, so K1ck strategy, they switched the Widow off. Taimu is back on Mercy. So I think that they wanted to use the Widow to force Fnatic off of that high ground for the very first section. And now they're going to a more standard composition, which actually worked out.
Res instantly on Valutar and Winghaven, who were both down there. K1ck now trying to collapse on the payload itself, and Fnatic actually having difficulty coming out from inside the building there. K1ck a lot more in the open, but Fnatic not yet able to take advantage of it.
He had both teams popping their Lucio ults. It's pretty much scrum on the point right now.
And again, another High Noon, precursor to clearing everything out. The payload has moved a fair bit, though, and Fnatic do still have a presence here. Who's dead? Lucio is gone. Micah is gone for Fnatic right now. Oh, and Mercy goes down as well. That's going to be frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, they managed to get that checkpoint, and they switched off the Reaper 2 for a Tracer, so they're going to have a lot of constant harass on this Fnatic team. It'll be interesting to see, you know, how they deal with that. Or if Rula can really make Tracer plays.
Well, let's take a look at what Trace is going to be doing right now. We'll see if we're able to get a little bit more harassment off. At the moment, not exactly setting the world on fire, because we're mainly staying behind Reinhardt's shield. Tracer really wants to get behind enemy lines if possible, but giving McCree at the moment a really frustrating time.
K1ck just made another interesting class switch. They got rid of their Mercy before she even had ultimate and went to Zenyatta, which makes some kind of sense in the hangar, because you can put the Discord Orb on that Pharah on top, which, you know, he just managed to get a kill off with that, but it's kind of a risky play. Especially when Fnatic still has that Mercy.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about this, because bear in mind, you have that Zenyatta, who's just died, by the way. But there is no Pharah here on this side, and it looks like 4 out of 6 of them are now dead. There goes Tracer as well, and only Lucio left, and, you know, I'm a big fan of Lucio. I play him myself, but unfortunately all the goodwill in the world isn't going to get you a good position there.
I mean, K1ck's having a lot of success, though, playing these, like, aggressive team compositions that just play on the floor, basically, where they just kind of stack the cart and scrap on the cart. And they're managing to make it work, even though they don't really have all that much to kind of stop the Reinhardt from just sitting there while the Pharah spams from above, so it's interesting.
Alright, D.Va now back into the hangar. We have Reinhardt in front as well, trying their best to... oh, very nice, actually, moving up there. McCree being forced to move down, but D.Va might be overextending ever so slightly. There are quite a lot of enemies within. Where have we got to in terms of teammates? I'm going to have to go to third person and race back to have a look here. But it doesn't look like this is going to be necessarily a successful push, because 3 out of 6 are gone for K1ck.
Yeah, we just got this Tracer trying to get as much harassment as she can. I think they really needed to get her pulse bomb and use it on the Reinhardt to kind of clear off the cart so they could push it that last bit away. But it looks like the McCree just knocked her off.
What's interesting, though, is that you have, like, every time there's one of these team fights that I want to say Fnatic win, you notice that the payload has actually moved quite a bit further. I mean, through all of these skirmishes, even though K1ck has been losing a lot of these battles, every time they lose one of these battles, they have been moving the payload and getting closer to that objective.
And one of the hidden abilities of Tracer is that she can kind of touch the cart and prevent it from falling back too much, you know, until her team's ready to actually attack again.
So look at this. Once again, we have Morta and Stefan. Ruling the skies from up above. We've got a lot of rockets from Stefan. He's got a lot of love to give and a lot of damage to dish out. But all the while, we have K1ck on the ground, moving the payload further and further towards that objective. They're not losing sight of that. There's the Reinhardt ultimate from Winghaven, basically only getting one other person before dying. But we have the res coming straight out from Mercy. Morta doing a great job, basically being entirely unchecked up above. Ruler, I would have thought, is running around trying to hunt for heroes such as the Mercy here, but unfortunately, he's just been too busy up in the face of the Reinhardts. That is not going to be a good position for the Tracer. I just don't feel that this has paid off for Ruler yet.
I mean, he managed to pick off the McCree there, but it was kind of already after some of the fight was over. Like, they definitely... They switched back to Mercy again, I think, because they realized that not having that res is going to be an issue for them. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get that up or get this point before, you know, switching.
I want to know how they're going to deal with Stefan. This is, he's been doing such a good job with the, pardon the pun, but seriously, with the Overwatch duty, with just so much of that damage coming from those rockets. He's just been laying the groundwork for the rest of his team. I feel like he's just been quietly working hard. No, he hasn't had any quad kills or anything like that. But if you're dealing this much damage and supporting your team this much, you don't need to. You just need to stay on top of the shuttle and continue dishing out the pain.
Yeah, stopping the Pharah is definitely, you know, something difficult to do in the current competitive meta, considering after the McCree, you know, drop-off change, there's only Widowmaker that can snipe her from a distance. But they do have that soldier, and he does a ton of damage, especially if he's able to aimbot when Pharah's flying in the sky. He can just mow her down, like, instantly. So I think that's what...
Oh, really I heard aimbot. Literally, as you said it, he tried to do just that. Not quite able to pull it off. Down. Wow, that's pretty good going, and unfortunately most of the rest of the ultimate went straight into Reinhardt's shields. So we'll see how much more momentum. Okay, there is the res. Morta immediately dying as well. So we have got Fnatic without a Mercy right now.
There's 3 down on Fnatic. They do have a couple ults if they can pull it off, but I think K1ck kind of has them push off the point. They're going to get this checkpoint.
Alright, there we go. Checkpoint number 2. 2.5 minutes left on the clock here. And K1ck now continues to push forward. We keep looking at the action and seeing the great skirmishes between these two teams. Guys, we need to remember, we keep an eye on a prize here. There are still objectives to cap. And, wow, being very, very aggressive this time around. Now, we're back out in the open. I'm really keen to see how much damage Tracer is going to get done here. I have a feeling Ruler is going to enjoy being out in the open here a lot more than inside the hangar.
It'll be interesting. I mean, they have Mercy ult right now, so they could actually get really aggressive here, especially if Tracer can kind of shut down the next Mercy before she gets her ult.
We have, well, we have quite a lot of ults, actually, at the moment. Oh, hello, and that's a bit of justice coming out from Stefan, but he gets white. And, ooh, very, very nice res. I mean, Stefan does a great job, but Taimu was waiting for that so that he'd be able to bring his teammates back into the fight. And once again, we have a completely open-ended skirmish here. These guys are actually really, really spread out right now, but all the meanwhile, look at K1ck. Payload always moving.
Fnatic's in a pretty good position here, though, because they have the res advantage now. Although Morty's going in deep, he's in the danger zone. They have to be a little careful here, but they managed to get 3 kills there, so I think they're gonna be able to set up again and defend. And they didn't even have to use their res either, which should have been kind of K1ck's key goal there with that last fight.
Yeah.
So that's gonna make it kind of more difficult for them to get a successful push in now. I think they only have a minute left, so they're gonna have to go in hard, but I'm not sure it's looking too good for them here.
So I think if they can force Morta to use their res, and then Taimu happens to have a res, they can try and push this through in overtime. But like you say, even if you're able to do that, you're then in a situation where it's going to be very difficult for you to defend that kind of time. And wow, Fnatic going all out. They want to stop this right here, right now. They don't want this to go to overtime at all. And K1ck are nowhere near the payload. Is it Tracer who's hanging around there? But you're not going to be able to 1v6 that out back, mate.
She still at least prevents the payload from degrading a little, so it'll be easier for them once they get in position.
Oh,
they did draw out that res from Fnatic, so I mean I don't know if getting aggressive there by Fnatic was actually the right play.
Tracer down and critically Mercy down now for K1ck. We're at 5 seconds left, and unfortunately it's just the Reinhardt that's there. Mystic is going to go down as well. And yes, we're into overtime, but there really isn't that much left. Can they stall for long enough? Who else is nearby? Ruler on the D.Va. Well, you'll be able to touch the payload at least, but what's the follow-up plan? I don't think there is one. That's it.
Definitely not. That's Fnatic's defense yet again at the last point.
Winghaven gets play of the game. Oh, is this going to be out in the open with the ult?
No.
Yeah, it is out in the open. Ooh, there we go. When's the last time we saw Reinhardt play of the game without an ult?
Hey, in that our match, Mezzer just plus forwarded and swung his hammer and killed like 5 people.
Was that? Did that end up being play of the game?
That was play of the game. Yes,
yep.
Against Fnatic, I think.
There we go. All right.
It happens.
Match time 11:14. I'm going to go ahead and edit all of the scenes. Don't worry, guys. We're getting the hang of this now.
Well, technically, it was a defense, so.
Oh yeah.
The time is irrelevant.
I suppose so. Time to beat. Hypothetically, 11:14 on a defense. Now, it's a good point. That was a strong hold, to be honest. It was very, very, very solid. So this is still round 1, map 2. I think officially that means that Fnatic is, well, still just 1-0 up in this best of 3, but doesn't have an overall match point just yet.